Hello, folks, and welcome to Hash It Out. Hash It Out is a podcast that we do here at Woodlawn where we like to talk a little bit more in depth about the most recent sermon that was preached here. My name is Justin Moorhead. I'm here joined by Mitch Evans, and we're really excited to talk to you today about contentment because we are in Philippians chapter 4, verses 10 through 13. Well, let me stop you right there. I forgot to do this last time, and I'm remembering to do it now. If you've not listened to the sermon already, we'd love for you to do that. It would make this whole thing a whole lot better because then it'll make sense what we're talking about. So we don't plan to retrace every step or kind of every comment that was made in the sermon. So we just want to kind of pick up where we left off, really, with the conversation. So there should be a link in the description of this video. If you weren't able to be with us on Sunday to hear the sermon, if you would click that link and watch the sermon, that would be great. Otherwise, we are going to talk about Philippians chapter 4, verses 10 through 13, the most famous verse ever. Or maybe just behind John 3:16.
Or don't judge me.
Don't judge me.
Yeah.
That's a famous one.
Yeah.
But this is a good coffee mug, or you even pointed out, a neck tattoo verse.
Yes.
A lot of neck tats.
Yeah. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me by my neck muscles.
I can do all things except get a tattoo that's covered. Can't do that. Can't do that through Christ. I had to get it right there.
Yeah.
But yes, so we're going to talk about that verse. We joke, but so often taken out of context. But we'll talk about the right context a little bit. And the idea with contentment, we talked about really just to kind of jump to it, is this idea that we're going to be able to rightly glorify God or seek to glorify God in any situation, whatever circumstance we're in. That is, so my first question is kind of built out of this. That seems like a very big idea. The idea that really contentment is I'm going to seek to glorify God no matter what. That's like the end of all things. That's like the first question to the Westminster thing, you know? Like this seems like big stuff, but the word content seems kind of small. It seems a little bit mediocre. Content, for me, when I hear the word content, I feel like that's a little better than bad and not great. I'm content.
Yes. Yeah.
So why use that word for such a big idea?
The Eeyore.
Eeyore, yeah.
Yes.
He's fine.
Right. I do think that is how we perceive contentment. I think what is meant in contentment throughout Philippians is rejoice or finding joy. So then I think he's helping the Philippians. Any part of his letter is brought up intentionally. So he's using the occasion of they sent him a gift. And he's saying, I was already content despite having received the gift. And at the same time, he's able to say thank you. I do think, just what you said, he's working out of a bigger idea. John Piper is really helpful, if you know that name. John Piper described the bigger idea that he believes undergirds the Philippians 4 passage. And I think he's right. And it comes in Colossians, which is just the next letter over, but still by Paul, keeping it in that context. Colossians 1:17 gives us the big idea. And he, Jesus, and he is before all things, and in him all things, in him all things hold together. And he is the head and the body of the church. He is the beginning, the firstborn from the dead, and that in everything he might be preeminent. So he's getting this big idea. In everything he would be preeminent. However, verse 17 was so helpful. And he is before all things, and in him all things hold together. So in him, everything has its purpose or its meaning. And in him is where we're getting the idea that for all of us, we have this initial reason for doing anything. So he draws that out even maybe more fully in verse 16, so Colossians 1:16. For by him all things were created in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or dominions or rulers or authorities. All things were created through him and for him. So it's his preeminence, as the verses go on to say, that so this is this idea that supersedes everything, but then everything is created by him and for him. So we, our starting places, we are all created for Christ.
Right.
if that's our purpose for why we were created, and that's the underlying idea for everything in existence, I'm created for Christ. In as much as my life operates for Christ, it is operating in accordance with its design, in accordance with its intended purpose and goal. And so that's where I find contentment, or you might say satisfaction.
Yeah, I was thinking that word the whole time.
Yeah.
It's like the most satisfying. I'm doing the thing I was supposed to do. I'm
Precisely.
designed to do.
Yeah. I think so I do think, while it is a big idea, it should undergird everything. One of the things it undergirds is contentment, right? In the satisfying category.
Sure.
So I think that is a very helpful maybe starting place, and brings us back to this Philippians 4 passage, where I think you're right. Most people would say, I'm content.
Sure.
It's not great, but I've had worse idea. Whereas I think Paul is saying it in a different way. He's saying, although I'm in prison, and although I'm being taken advantage of and exploited by this political system, and although those who put me here only brought me here on trumped up charges because of the underlying animosity that they have towards me, he says, despite all of those things, I can still rejoice in Christ. That's what he's calling contentment.
Because he's doing precisely what he was designed to do.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think that Colossians concept is very helpful.
Yeah, that is helpful. It almost makes you think we should just do a better job how we use the word contentment.
Yeah, it's probably true.
We don't need to put that on the Bible. In the sermon, you were mentioning that the way this kind of contentment, or understanding that kind of the end goal of our existence in every circumstance, is a learned thing, but it's learned through our experiences. Maybe flesh that out a little bit. How is it that our experiences and us being in them are going to teach us the idea we were just talking about, teach us that principle?
Yeah, so I think what the passage is telling us is very much so be through experience. He says you're going to learn it, and you will even come to know or understand. And I think that's helpful. There's a lot of times a distinction between knowing something and understanding it. And usually coming to understand it is because I've seen it lived out in my life.
Yeah.
So I think that also brings it down to a really practical level. So when he's saying, you've known, maybe you and I have known, discontentment in different ways.
Yeah.
I think one of the earliest forms of discontentment is we thought buying something would make us happy.
Yeah.
And some of us have refused to give up on that idea. And we think, if I could just get the one more thing. So really, the Bible is saying you should realize there are things you thought would make you content that you need to subtract from your life. An author, Andrew Davis, wrote that in his book on contentment. He was saying there's many things we should subtract. I think he's right because of so many Bible passages. So for instance, 1 Timothy chapter 6, he talks about what we should subtract is the thought that buying one more thing will make us happy.
Yeah.
And so he says in verse 6, but godliness with contentment is great gain. For we brought nothing into the world, and we cannot take anything out of the world. No buying anything. It's going to make us happy. But if we have food and clothing, and with these things we'll be content. But those who desire to be rich fall into temptation, into a snare, into many senseless and harmful desires that plunge people into ruin and destruction. So he's saying the idea that possessions are going to make you happy, beyond just your needs being met, possessions will do something for me in this life. He says that's going to undermine your contentment. So I would say the first thing we do is subtract that idea.
So does that literally mean like take stuff out of your life? Like, I've got material possessions that I know bring me joy. It would be wise to offload some stuff. I mean, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, in short, yes.
Okay.
Maybe I need some specificity. That Christianity is not a vow of poverty. So I don't ditch everything.
Right.
But what Christianity does say is, if you're not generous,
Sure.
possessions and money will corrupt your soul. That's what Christianity does say. So I think the idea, and that's what I was quick to say, in short, yes, we should subtract, literally be giving away money.
Yes.
Be giving away things, be very generous in our demeanor actually will make us much more content on the one hand because of the subtraction it provides. I'm no longer convinced money is going to be the thing to satisfy me.
Yeah.
And the irony of it, if you look at statistical analysis in terms of giving by salary range,
Yes.
if you make, the last I saw, the most recent one I've seen, if you make under $72,000,
Right.
you give at a higher rate. 72, I believe it's 72,000, thereabout, was like a cutoff. Once people started as a household making above that, their percent giving decreased.
Really?
So it's like once I kind of got to what people might say is a comfortable standard of living, above that, my percent giving decreased. And so I think we become more convinced. We're thinking, man, this was comfortable.
Sure.
A little more will be even more comfortable.
Sure.
And a little more. And so we give less because we've fallen back into what Timothy, this letter to Timothy, called a snare. Hebrews, it's not only Paul, Hebrews 13, 5 and 6, same concept, that your contentment will be squandered because of the love of money.
So we think we're going to be content by addition. Keep accumulating stuff. It's really when we can start being generous, start offloading some of these false hopes.
I think probably I could affirm this. I've certainly experienced that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah.
I bought something knowing it doesn't last, right? Now, like after you get a certain point in life, you're like, I'm going to buy this and it'll be fun for a little while. And then it's fun for even less time than I thought, you know?
Right.
I got the new iPhone and it was kind of lackluster, disappointing. They changed one icon or something on there. So, anyways, so I would say the first one is we should subtract. The second one is a mindset. It's kind of quick.
Okay.
I would love to hear your thoughts on it. The Bible also says a lot of our contentment is I'm going to serve a God that I cannot see. But the fact that I cannot see him will not go on for eternity. It's going to be short-lived. This life is pretty short-lived.
Yes.
So the mindset the Bible describes is a recognition that, as James says, this life is but a vapor. And so I should be living for what's beyond this life. And as I find my contentment in storing up treasure in heaven, that actually helps the here and now a lot. So my mindset is that this life is short-lived. We use that argument in a lot of ways. Like some people don't believe that argument. And so when they go on vacation, they go to an Airbnb and they meet up with family and they've brought everything from their house. And they kind of end up rearranging. And we use the argument. When they say, man, the mattress isn't very soft, you say, yeah, we're only going to be here one night. Right? Can't you be content with this mattress if you know it's short-lived?
Right.
So I think that logic, that mindset is helpful. You're going on to something greater. Live for that something greater. Even though you might be challenged by something here and now, it's going to be short-lived.
Oh, I'd say, eternal perspective, right? We are choosing faithfulness, choosing this, as Jesus would say in the Sermon on the Mount, a hard path through a narrow gate, this kind of faithfulness for right now in light of all that stands before us. So we're going to be given so much gain we can't comprehend. You know what I mean? The weight of eternal glory, that idea.
Absolutely.
So, to be willing to choose subtraction, for example. For the sake of all that is in store, I think makes a whole lot of sense. So that mindset, I think makes a lot of sense, which is what's most helpful about it. It is just a vapor. It's a blip. Even a good 100-year-long life in light of eternity, little speck.
Numerous analogies you could use. The speck is one I hear used commonly. Somebody talked about how many pieces of sand, I should say, would be in one scoop of a bulldozer, and then you think the whole beach, and so one of those specks is your life. So you have however many million are in a scoop of a bulldozer, right? So you've just barely touched the surface of the whole beach. So I think all those analogies keep going. If somebody wants homework, 2 Corinthians 4, 17 and 18 talks about the brevity of life.
Okay.
So now I'm doing the driving, but since I'm driving, I'll keep going. I got a third one. Is the Jeremy Burroughs quote. I'll quote him. Seek to do the duty of the circumstance. So that's where in any situation, when I really learn to be content, is when I'm asking that big picture idea you started with. What would serve Christ in this particular circumstance?
Yes.
And so I think that's where we're going to make gains. So we talked about subtraction, adding back what would be most fitting because of my relationship with Christ in any particular circumstance.
Oh, yeah. So that's what we have to just so much depend on trusting God. He's brought you to this circumstance. He's put you in this circumstance for you to do your job, essentially, for you to fulfill your purpose in life per this circumstance or that circumstance. So serving that duty, in a sense, is really how to be content.
Absolutely, yeah. So I would say, for instance, the person longing to get married, don't waste your singleness.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Don't waste that moment. Don't let that pass you by. How can I serve Christ in my singleness is not saying somehow I'm accepting I'm going to be single for forever. It's saying I can, right now while I am single, be content with this. And it's not solely a longing for a relationship. And I just wish I could meet somebody and all my relationships have failed, etc. Is to say, okay, I want to be content while God has me here. Just as you said, trusting that God does have me here. It could be a job that's challenging and doesn't feel particularly fulfilling. And you think, man, content at this place is nearly impossible working here day in and day out.
Right.
How can I serve Christ and honor him there? Given my circumstances, what's my duty? As Jeremy Burroughs describes.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I think this was a really helpful conversation. Hopefully it was helpful for you all to get a little bit more of a developed idea of contentment, what it means to be able to do all things through Christ who strengthens us. So even thinking about how, so being willing to subtract from life, being willing to have this eternal perspective as we live and trust God in each circumstance where he has us so that we can serve the duty of that particular circumstance, I think is a lot to chew on. Hopefully is a lot to be helpful to you all. So yeah, I hope it's a help. We'll be back next week, same bat time, same bat channel to do another Hash It Out. So we hope that